Welcome to my channel, Sounds Per Frame. My name is Chris, and I'm really excited today. It's the first episode of what I wish, with your help and support, will be many episodes on the theme of film scoring, film composition, if you like, especially directed at those of you like myself who are self-taught, self-schooled composers who wish to work for film, who are already working on film, and we can share resources. So I've always played many musical instruments, but this thing of talking to a camera is very new to me. So please bear with me and help me along for the ride. I'm really excited about this, so let's jump right in. So film scoring, school or college, although it certainly helps, it's not really necessary for you to develop as a film composer. I mean, I don't mean to sound pretentious with this statement, but it's that for me, I can sort of put myself in a frame of mind where I'm like going to college every day with what I'm doing. I plan more or less what I'm going to study on each particular day. So I suppose a way to develop yourself is to have certain things to keep in mind. So personal commitment is one of them. Resources are very important, as well as different tools. And I will be discussing all of these things in this episode and future episodes as well. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a musician, composer, multi-platinum record producer.
Wow!
I've gotten a Latin Grammy for my work as well. And I've worked for many, many years in Brazil in all these different functions with music. However, a big dream of mine was to work with film scoring from a very... Oh, there you go. When you it up like that. So should I do all of that again? When I was very small, before I decided to get into music, I wanted to be an actor, a director. I loved movies. So it was always like a dream to work with film music, film composing, to get more involved with orchestral music, to really be part of this marriage between image and sound. When I'm telling you my personal experiences with my career, it's not that I want you to copy anything that I did, but it's just to tell you a very unlikely story of what I did in my past as a musician and how I got to working with my dream project, which is music for film. I started my career at a very early age. I began studying the drums when I was 9 years old, and by 15 I was already working professionally as a drummer. That was in Brazil, where I grew up. Later I went to study drumming in Los Angeles and came back to Brazil and played with many artists. Then I started my career as a producer and songwriter and drummer and all these different things that I was doing with my career. I started working more and more in music production. Finally, that landed me a job at Globo Networks in Brazil with their programs The Voice Kids, and other musical reality shows. I was doing something like 15 arrangements a week for those shows, and I would also do my own string and horn arrangements. That was a wonderful experience because I was developing these ideas of 4-part harmonies, 3-part harmonies, orchestrating those sounds that I was hearing in my head with the use of musical software. So that was invaluable for me to develop these techniques that would land me my first gigs with the film industry. So that's what I want to talk about today. I will discuss with you the essential tools necessary for you to get started. Personal commitment and development. Now that's a very important subject if you want to get in something that is as competitive and as rich in terms of material as film scoring. It's very important for you to develop the commitment to study daily, to plan your daily schedule in terms of what you're going to focus on, which video clips that you're going to look for, which books you're going to study, and I plan on helping you along the way to make these very important decisions. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. He was the inventor of the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and the light bulb. Can you imagine? When asked about his more than 2,000 attempts to create the light bulb and how he could keep on insisting with it, he said, "I found 2,000 ways of how to not make a light bulb." So from this example, you see how discipline is such an important asset for you to develop. There really is no discipline that compares to self-discipline, especially when you are self-taught. The next essential element for you to develop are the resources that you will seek. One of these, which is so available today and so fantastic, is YouTube. YouTube is an amazing music school. When I started working on my horn and string arrangements for my programs at Globo Network, I was really watching a lot of clips and videos on how to write for strings, for horns. So even though that's something that I never formally studied, I could check out like the really important details for you to do that. You can search for these videos and they will help you tremendously to zone in on what you really want to do. You will find in the description below some of the resources that have helped me to develop as a film composer. One of these resources is Fred Stickley's excellent channel on 3 and 4 part writing for horns. If you follow his videos, you will see how to write for the instruments, the correct voicings, how to switch voices, and these particular voicings that he suggests will really help you to write for strings as well. A further resource, and one that is very discussed in different film composers' channels here on YouTube, is for you to follow along with a score while listening to the music. Now this is a bit tricky because if you go immediately to try and do that, you'll just feel so lost, it'll be overwhelming. So what I recommend, and you'll find it in the description below, is for you to follow clips where you're focusing more in a single instrument or maybe in a section, like a string section. So you'll see an example of Carl Maria von Weber, a clarinet concerto of his, as well as Haydn's first string quartet, which will give you a very clear notion and basic notion of how to write for 4-part harmony with strings. So watching these clips, you will see that instruments have a sweet spot where they sound bright, a little darker. Make sure that you take notes about these particular moments so that you will remember how to write for these instruments in this manner. Another resource is to buy books on orchestration, on instruments, their pitches, and their I forgot the word. Their extension. Those are invaluable works for you to develop your writing skills for these instruments and these sections of the orchestra. I've also put in the description below 2 links that I found in YouTube of short films that have no sound or no music. So if you find a way to download these films, you can practice at home. And I suggest that you start with short 3-minute, 4-minute films. You can just keep searching. There are many examples for you to work with. It's really important that you start to develop a sensitivity of image and how music can collaborate with it, sometimes even contradict it, depending on what you're looking for. And that is a wonderful challenge for you to get started. Having covered the personal commitment and resources, I'll move on to the tools that are essential for you to get started as a composer for film. First and foremost, you will need a computer, of course. People will be sending you film clips. You will have to learn how to sync these film clips to the music that you will be recording, and I will be discussing this further in the episodes to come. Along with the computer, of course, you will need the softwares. The first essential one is the DAW, or Digital Audio Workstation. So that covers Pro Tools, Logic, Reaper, or whatever it is that you like to work with. I personally, having worked so many years as a record producer, have an affinity with Pro Tools. But it really doesn't matter. The best software is the software that you're familiar with, you know the shortcuts. It really can be any one. Another essential software for me is the notation software. I use Sibelius. It integrates really well with Pro Tools, but again, it can be anything that you're comfortable with. It really doesn't matter. These notation softwares are invaluable. Within the software, I can try different voicings, either trying to think from a more theoretical point of view, or sometimes I'll just go by my ear. So I'll try a voicing, hear it played back. Maybe I can do it better, so I'll switch one voice for another one. It's fantastic. And also when you're outside of the range, the software will be the first one to tell you. Along with the DAW, you will need an audio interface. This interface will help you to integrate your DAW with the instruments that you're plugging into it, microphones, as well as its outputs will go to the speakers. So a pair of good speakers are essential if you're going to be working with this day in and day out. Of course, musical instruments are an integral part of what we're doing, right? You may not even want to work with orchestral music for film scoring. You might be coming from a DJ's point of view, where you will scratch vinyls. I mean, anything can go here, but it's really important that you have these tools, whether it's a turntable, a guitar, a keyboard. And it's interesting also for you to start experimenting with new instruments. Try to stay away a bit from your comfort zone and try different percussion things, bells, I mean, the works. Please remember that instruments also can be both virtual and physical. So it's a wonderful investment for you to look, investigate on different virtual instruments that you can install in your DAW. Many of these instruments can be played from a very kind of loose and experimental perspective. You don't have to be like this fantastic piano player, but I do have a keyboard here which helps me to also play piano via MIDI and experiment with different virtual instruments, synths and the like, and also with effects. So it helps to have some engineering skills in this as well. A really good pair of headphones is invaluable as well. They will really help you, sometimes working late at night without waking up the neighbors. Also to check the low frequency of what you're writing. Nowadays in the film industry, the low frequencies are really important in the film scoring. I will talk about that later, how to double the bass instruments with low frequencies, and we'll be getting into that. Some of my musical colleagues were trying to talk me out of working for the film industry since I'm not a piano player or a keyboard player. That's hogwash. The fact that I come from drumming and guitar playing gives me an edge. It gives me something different to contribute to directors who are seeking for something different. So the fact that I studied drumming helped me tremendously to understand how rhythm works and how to create rhythmic phrases within what I do, with the horns especially, and strings as well. My skills on the guitar helped me to really analyze chord shapes and see how to best orchestrate these notes for a horn section, a guitar section, etc. So please don't fall for this thing that everybody has to be the same, that it's all level to piano or keyboard players, etc. Be original, be yourself, try to find your voice in this. That's the beauty of being a self-taught film composer. Something that I will be exploring in future episodes is how you can further assist your skills capturing these ideas on notation software, etc., with different forms of recording. And for that, an essential tool will be a mic preamp and certain microphones that you should acquire to have in your arsenal. For you to get started, the two most basic microphones that you should have is a condenser. It could be, and this is good for you to research, it depends on how much you want to invest, but a good condenser microphone and a good supercardioid. And for the latter category, I cannot recommend enough the music producers and sound engineers aspirin, and that is the Shure SM57. I mean, that microphone, I have used it for everything. Instruments that aren't even really recommended to capture with that microphone. But with the right mic preamp and the right positioning, you can just get amazing sounds with it, with almost, virtually any instrument. So in this segment, I will be recommending great material and a lot of fun stuff for you to get started, as well as evolve in your film scoring abilities. So for today, I'd like to recommend this fantastic book. It's The Study of Orchestration by Samuel Adler. This is a comprehensive book on all the contemporary instruments of the orchestra, with their pitches, their extensions, and the correct use of different voicings and textures and how they can blend one with another. This is the 4th edition. Unfortunately, it comes with a soft cover. However, you do get a code to go online and listen to all the musical examples that are in the book. This is invaluable. Please be forewarned that when you go online with the Study of Orchestration and your code, they will try to get you to pay yearly fee to watch all the videos. That is really not necessary. Just stick to the audio examples. And I would also like to recommend, as an extension of your studies, the Workbook for the very same book. It's fantastic. It has more examples as well as exercises where you're listening or you're reading something and you further the score writing for that part. It's a great asset. So I hope that all these resources will help to motivate you and get you started in your journey making music for film, for TV, for shorts, documentaries, whatever it is that you want to do. My personal goal is to post one of these videos every week in which I will be covering all aspects of film composing, especially for self-schooled musicians such as myself. I will cover how to be a self-taught sound engineer, self-taught guitarist or keyboard player, different choices of microphones, of guitar pedals, which I use constantly. I'm going to cover a lot of ground. So if you dug this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, you know the drill. Also, in the comments section below, please share with me your experiences as a musician, producer, DJ, ambient or shoegazing player, so that I can help you and better assist you in future episodes. Just like I'm fulfilling my dream of working with music for film, I want you to be able to do the same. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video.